What's up, guys? It's your homeboy, Cowboy Crunk, coming to you from the Big Magnolia, Magnasty, Texas. Uh, Wanted to run down a video today. This is tomorrow's game day. About 24 hours away. Really looking forward to tomorrow's game. Really excited about what we had last week. I want to explain to you how I think the Cowboys win this game, why I think the Cowboys win this game, and give you my perspective on what we're going to do, what changes we'll make from last week. Last week our team really didn't even look the same. Looked like a completely, totally different offense. Defense didn't look so great, so we do want to work on that. That's what I want to see improve this week. I want to see some improvements from our defense. I did take down a few notes here. One of the notes, I heard a word on ESPN. I hate to steal from them guys, but the offense has a different acceleration, and they're calling it a Kaccelation. Kaccelation comes from Kellen Moore. He has accelerated this offense to a different level. And guys, this is not something we saw last year. We never saw wide open receivers just randomly a wide open receiver that was an easy target for Dak to hit. We didn't see that very often at all. He had a lot of close window opportunities Dak had to make. So this year, this dink, dak, and dunk, dink, dunk, and dak, I like it. You can dink, dunk, and to me, it's dink, dunk, and dak. The dak is when we go deep. Dink, dunk, and dak them deep. And I think we're going to see that more this year. We saw a lot of RPOs, a lot of movement on the line of scrimmage. One thing I'm concerned about is our run game has not got going yet, and this Washington defense, that is actually kind of the strength of their defense. Now, Jonathan Allen is out. This will be his. I think this is his second year. Their second year defensive tackle from Alabama. He is out, which is a good thing for us. We had trouble running on them the last game. We only had 80 yards rushing on them the last game, and that's because Allen and Payne, both of those guys, first round draft picks from Alabama. Payne has been there 2 years. Allen's been there 2 years. Payne has been there one. Got those guys backwards, but Allen drafted in 2017. Payne drafted in 2018. Really, really solid defensive tackles for them. That's the staple for their. That's the anchor on their defense. Luckily, one of them is out. Wish him the best as far as health goes. But anyways, those guys really put a hurting on us, especially that last game. 80 yards rushing. It was one of Ezekiel Elliott's worst games last year. So I hate to see this, but we may not see them feed Zeke like we want to get that rolling again. But why change something that was working last week? The offense looked really great. This is an opportunity for Dak to have another big game. Put his name, put a check mark by his name. If you guys are into the fantasy football thing and stuff, I think his numbers will be good again this week. The secondary on the defensive side for Washington is not looking so good right now. They have quite a few injuries on the secondary. They brought in two new guys this week. One was basically for special teams. Another one was Aaron Colvin. He was actually cut this week by the Houston Texans. He was the one that gave up the play. If you guys watched the Texans game, he had a really soft cushion on the game where they played the Saints this week, and basically Drew Brees just turned and threw the ball out there to Quinn, and he got the 9 yards. They downed the ball, and they got the timeout. They kicked the field goal and won it. That he just had too much of a soft of a cushion. They weren't happy with some of his play, and the Washington Redskins had to pick him up just to kind of complete their secondary roster. So we really expect to see some shiftiness on the offense again from Kellen Moore. See some wide open receivers without Dak having to, nail every target, spot on, and see a little bit of this stuff where we can be more creative on the offensive side. I really expect that out of this week. That the secondary will get lit up by Dak Prescott again. I just think the changes as well as the defensive line kind of being their staple. I think the Cowboys have a good chance of running the score up a little bit, and possibly trying to get the game. I'm sure they're going to try to work the run game in. They're going to try to get Ezekiel Elliott going. I just think what's going to happen is the weakness is going to be the secondary. I think this is something Kellen Moore feeds off of. I think he feeds off of looking at the other team and seeing what their weaknesses are and then pulling our strengths out. If we're well rounded, if we can run the ball and pass the ball, there may be weeks where we run the ball consistently. There may be weeks where we pass the ball consistently. So Kellen Moore's going to take that and run with it versus doing what Linehan did and said, we're just going to pound the rock. We're just going to pound Zeke. We're going to pound Zeke, and you're not going to stop us. And sometimes that doesn't work. You line 8 up in the box, and you got a lineman down or two. If the linemen aren't feeling good, you've got a lineman, 2 or 3 linemen tweaked on the offensive line, and our offensive line isn't as strong every week as it should be. It doesn't work. So you've got to be able to pass the ball against teams that are weak in the secondary, and I think that's what we have this week, and I think that's what the Cowboys and Kellen Moore orchestrates against this defense to accelerate us into a win. And I think we have a very similar situation next week where there's no defensive line and no secondary. So we'll see how that goes. I want to see Tampa Bay's game this week. Not Tampa Bay, Miami Dolphins game this week as well. I'll watch that a couple times this week, and I'll get back to you next week on how I think the Dolphins game will go. But this week, with the Washington Redskins, I do predict a win for the Cowboys, much like most people are. Score predictions I don't normally like to do, but I would like to see another 35-point game. 35-17 would be something. I want to see this defense. We've got to shut the run down. Adrian Peterson, I haven't mentioned his game in the video. Adrian Peterson is going to really be motivated to have a good game. I did have an article right here I wanted to read basically over the secondary, the problems they're having. They do have Josh Norman, Jimmy Moreland, and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. So they do have some guys there in the secondary that can play well. But when there's holes in the secondary, you've got to have solid guys everywhere. We've seen it before when we had Eli Apple. The Cowboys would pick on him. A lot of teams started picking on that guy, and you're not going to see him in the league much longer. They go right at him. So this is the same situation with this Aaron Colvin. If Kellen Moore can scheme some things to pick on the guy, that's what they're going to do. And the secondary is weak. The defensive line, they do have some injuries, like I said. Jonathan Allen is not in. Payne is there, but it's still a staple. It's still an anchor on their defense. So just wanted to get that out, guys. That's where I'm at, Cowboy Crunk. We will be live tomorrow during the game. I have my birthday party tonight. I did lock in a date. I leave here around the 7th or 8th of November, so I will be here a good part of the season. I get sworn into office in Bahrain. My swearing in is on 12 November, so that should go good. I hope everything goes fine. I'll keep you guys up to date. I will be doing live streams and some videos on my travels on the way over there and stuff like that. So, like I said, get there on 12 November, sign in, swear in, and I start work on 12 November, Bahrain office, the headquarters for the Middle East. So take care, guys. I'll keep in touch with you, and I'll see you on the next one.